I want to head on over to Kevin Richards, Ventura Web Design. We've got a lot of things going on this morning with web issues. And, hey, I want to thank you for joining me this morning, Kevin.
Good morning, Alan. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You want to find out more about Ventura Web Design when you're at alanstock.com. Check out on the right-hand side of the page, Ventura Web Design. You can click onto that and find out more about them and contact Kevin as well. Real quickly, I want to get into talking about back-to-school stuff, okay? But I know there was a hacker convention in town this past week, right?
There were actually two. One is called DEF CON, and that's at the Rio, and that's going on right now from, it was August 1st through the 4th. And there's also another one that wrapped up. It's called Black Hat, and that was at Caesars, July 27th through August 1st. And what they do is, hackers from all over the world, domestic and foreign, come on in, and they hone their skills together. And a couple of things that came out of that was...
Seriously? I mean, hackers?
Yep, absolutely. Well, they do it, for the good of everyone, right? They want to find the vulnerabilities before the real bad guys do.
Okay. Okay, all right.
So what they found, what they talked about was, you remember last week we talked about, and previously we talked about a service called Snapchat, where...
What is that?
It's a social networking tool where the idea is that you send something to someone and then it destructs after a certain amount of time.
Okay.
The old Inspector Gadget kind of style where...
And it's private, right?
Exactly. It's private. You send it directly to someone. They view the message, and as soon as they viewed it, it self-destructs, like the cartoon. So what the hackers are saying is that not only can those messages be retrieved before they're delivered, they can also be retrieved after they're delivered and during transmission over to your friend.
Oh.
So what you mentioned before and what we always say is there is no privacy on the Internet.
Right, and something else to remember, whether it's 100% true or not, you always have to think this way, that anything you ever put on the Internet, I don't care what it is, how sublime or how suggestive, you have to assume that it's always going to be there in the history forever.
Oh, absolutely. And you've even got to be careful of your text messages. Say you text message your friend, say, hey, I'm in a real hurry, I'll see you soon, and you go drive and get into an accident. There's going to be a real crafty personal injury attorney that's going to find that text message and use it to say, well, weren't you driving unsafely?
All right. Let's talk about back to school time right now. And people are buying, boy, I saw the ads everywhere for clothes and for computers and everything like that. And people are trying to decide, what do I get for my kid? I mean, do I get a tabletop computer? Do I get a laptop? Do I get what are those iPads or something like that? I mean, what's the best thing for a kid when it comes to these kinds of computers on a back to school basis? I'm talking about anywhere from middle school on up through college.
Well, certainly there's countless options out there, and I've even got a first grader who's going to school this year, and she's going to be using computers. So it's certainly a different time, and everybody's got to be computer savvy. You've got to get the right technology for the right age group so that they can learn safely and be protected from what's out there, but also be given the opportunity to learn and get comfortable with that technology. So you've got to keep your end user in mind. So the options, like you mentioned, are laptops, tablets. Tablet is another way of saying the iPad.
Right.
The Microsoft has an equivalent called Surface. There's also desktops, and there's something called Chromebook from Google. And you've got to look at how it's going to be used. Are they going to need to be mobile? For a younger student who is going to be at home with you, a desktop is great because you can put it out in the family room. You can identify exactly what they're doing on the computer and on the Internet. But for a college student, you want them to be able to take it to class with them. You want them to be able to take it to the library. They need to have that mobility. And even better, you want them to be able to come home and visit on the weekends, right?
Right. So they take it with, and they bring it home, and they've got it right there. So the older they get, maybe more mobility. The younger get a desktop, so you can kind of monitor what's going on as well. I mean, they say that's a very wise thing for parents to do. Computers weren't right there when our kids were really young, but now that we have grandchildren, I'm sure that my kids will be watching what their children are on and what they're doing with this stuff.
Exactly true. And you got to look at we'll talk about Mac versus PC in a minute. You've got to look at how how you can help them best. Don't just buy something without asking the student, especially if it's for a college student. Make sure if you're going to buy them that gift that you interact with them a little bit to make sure that they give you that input that will help the gift be successful.
All right. I want you to stay with me because I do want to talk about Mac versus PC and if there's any equivalent out there for a Mac as well. As you know, I've recently gone Mac, and I would not go back. And I can tell you that, absolutely the case. Kevin Richards, Ventura Web Design, joining me to talk about the back-to-school technology, web issues, the internet, and much, much more. We'll come on back and continue our discussion with Kevin Richards in just a moment. We haven't got a lot of time, so I want to get right back to Kevin Richards from Ventura Web Design. We're talking about the fact that there's a lot of back-to-school purchasing being done right now for students, and we're trying to figure out what kind of technology suits each student the best. And I know you wanted to mention this quickly about the Mac versus PC, this whole discussion going on, hardware and all the other stuff. Your
right,
thoughts
exactly.
on that?
And what I wanted to stress is that you've got to buy the right product for the right end user. So if your end user, if you're a college student, is really into gaming, they're definitely going to want a PC. You know, the latest and greatest titles are released faster on the PC format, and oftentimes are never even released at all for Mac. If you're an artist or a professional photographer, you're definitely going to want to use Mac. The history is there in the artistic community, and Adobe products were basically born there, Photoshop and things like that. If you're a developer or a coder, definitely PC is the way to go. And if you're a novice or you're afraid of getting a virus, Mac is definitely the way to keep you safe.
Yeah, as I mentioned, all my life I was a PC, and we get one every couple of years or so to have to update it. And I have never been happier than I am right now with my Mac. It flies like a PC has never flown. I mean, it flies from one place to the other. I can have multiple screens up there. No glitches, nothing at all. I am so sold on Mac, and nobody's telling me to say that. It's my own experience. So absolutely. Is there an equivalent for Mac out there, by the way?
Yeah, Mac definitely has a lot of great software, so don't feel like you're missing things out as far as going back to school or both platforms are great for accessing the internet, which is where you'll get the primary source of all your information. A couple differences that you might notice going from PC to Mac is the trackpad will be a little bit different. It kind of has one button, whereas you're used to more than that. But one trick you'll want to use is the lower right corner of your trackpad can be converted to actually be a right click, which you're familiar with.
No, I'm not, actually. No, but it doesn't matter because I've learned to use my option or control. I'm not sure which it is.
Command. That's it. That's the next thing I was going to say.
Well, command, option, there's control. There's all these different things there, and I'm learning them. And, I was a little concerned about about this learning curve process. How do you teach an old dog new tricks? But you know what? It's actually been it's been a delight. It's absolutely been a delight. And I said to Rhoda, yeah, she only got her PC last year. I said, you've got to get a Mac. She says, not yet. But eventually I'm going to get her a Mac because what a great thing. And you don't have to worry about the viruses. I love it. And I do a lot of research, obviously, and it lets me fly through all the information. So I'm thrilled.
It's a smooth experience, and you've got the same information across all your different platforms, your iPhone, your iPad, your Mac. I mean, it's all the same. It's a great experience across the board, absolutely.
All right, real quick, we haven't got a lot of time, like 1 minute. A cool tech toy out there, I understand, is this Google Chromecast. What is that all about?
Google Chromecast is awesome. It's especially good for college students. It lets them watch Netflix, YouTube, all that good stuff. They can put it all on their big screen TV without a costly monthly cable connection.
Wow.
So it's just basically a USB connection. Most new TVs have that. So you get them a nice big LED and plug it right in. They can access everything they want to see with none of the monthly costs.
All right. Kevin Richards, Ventura Web Design. Always, it's illuminating talking to you. And if you want to find out more about Ventura Web Design, go to alanstock.com. On the right-hand side of the page, you'll see the logo that says Ventura Web Design. Click onto that, and you can contact Kevin directly and find out more about Ventura Web Design. Great folks designing web pages because they did mine, and that's why I'm proud of it. Kevin, thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Have a good weekend, and we'll do it again next week.
Thanks, Alan. As always, appreciate it.
Take good care. Kevin Richards from Ventura Web Design.